Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm happy to say that it's almost wedding season. I'm happy because that means it's warming up, and that feels good in itself, but it feels good for a lot of couples that are getting married or even planning their wedding. They may have gotten engaged during Valentine's Day a couple of weeks ago, and here we are. We're getting ready to plan your wedding. So to help you do that, we have an expert, and her name is Alice Victoria Mbui, and she's with PassionEventsDesigns.com. Great to have you back, Alice. How's everything going?
Hello, Steve. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And everything is going great. And I can't wait to share some of the tips.
I'm so jealous because I love your background that you have in this video. It looks like a place setting for some kind of event that maybe you've done. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it, but it's so beautiful, colorful. Yeah. There's flowers on a table in your background. And why don't we talk about flowers for just a second? We hit upon it last time, just skimmed over it a little bit, but what are some of the major trends when it comes to floral design that you're seeing nowadays?
Yes, floral design has gone to another dimension because it's more than just using as centerpieces in tables, and now we tend to use floral design for backdrops, where we can have a backdrop with floral designs, and around the cake and on the tables, also around the gazebo where you plan to take pictures in front of a hall. It can be a venue in front of the entrance. So it has taken all over the place, which is great.
You said something, Alice, and I never even thought about it. Having your flowers around the cake, there's so many different areas. We just think of flowers, maybe, a place setting on a table, maybe there could be an area of flowers that somebody sees when they walk in, of course, the bouquet, but there's so many different areas that you can put them in, and there's so many different designs that you can do. And that's why you need a professional wedding planner like yourself and your team, because a lot of us wouldn't even think of that.
Right.
How about we talk about flowers? How about balloons? Balloon design seems to be getting kind of big again.
Yes, balloon design has picked up as well. And you can name every kind of event that you're having, whether it's wedding, and sometimes now we have brides that want to have balloon designs, for the wedding. And baby shower. Baby shower is like you can even do like a full wall of balloons. And I think that's why we got into storage during the pandemic, because people just were crazy about using balloons for different designs, and also for birthdays, which is popular. But it's for the wedding part that's overtaken as well.
And it's not just the balloon arch. That's what I see in my mind when I think about balloons. Like, to your point, there's so many different things that you can do with them, and so many different events. Let's now, of course, we can talk about baby showers, graduation parties. You might expect balloons there. What about a wedding? Where would you incorporate balloons, or would you?
Well, in weddings, I know some brides will say, no, I don't want to do balloons, because balloon is mainly for, either birthdays, kids' events. But there's such a way where you can have like a balloon arch, and you can incorporate some flowers in between, so it gives that nice layout. And if you are designing, let's say a dessert cake table, you can just do a design like underneath around it. And there's other devices that we can hook up the balloons. And I think the mixture, when it comes to weddings, the mixture of balloons and florals makes a great combination.
I agree with you now that you're saying it. And I get totally what a bride might be saying, that, okay, balloons are, maybe not as upscale as I want them for my wedding, but balloons are festive. You can't deny that. They're fun. There's a very positive feeling from them. When you add them with the right colors and to floral design, what a great combination. I would have never thought of that either.
Right, right. And another great way to have balloons at wedding is someone who's having a winter wonderland theme wedding. We're having balloons hang out to the ceiling, like to the wall, or to the ceiling of the building. Of course, it wasn't a very high ceiling, but seeing all the balloons up, like make it look like the skies, and then I think
Yeah,
yeah, that's another way to have it too.
very pretty. You know, it's almost like New Year's Eve. And who doesn't like New Year's Eve, right?
Right.
How about some of the dinner choices? Let's get on to catering. I don't think we've ever really talked about catering before and kind of went into some of the different dishes that are popular right now. What are your suggestions when somebody's planning out their menu?
Well, when someone is planning out the menu, it depends, if they want to do like cost effective, usually baked chicken is something that's a usual thing because not everybody can have seafood. And so I think having like a split of seafood and chicken, uh, just to make everyone happy. So as long that it's from a catering company that caters very good meals, I think the choice is wide open. What I would say a no to is having sandwiches. People will talk. They will talk bad if you present them sandwiches. And that's some of the feedbacks that we receive was people didn't want to eat sandwiches. They wanted to eat gourmet meals. So that's what but
All right,
that's what's
so
up.
all right. Let's go back on this, Alice, for a second, because I'm not really sure. I'm following along, but so somebody wanted to have sandwiches, or somebody served sandwiches at a wedding?
Yes, somebody served sandwiches at a wedding, and of course with vegetables on the side. But I think the guests wanted to have like gourmet meal, like chicken with like chicken vegetable or so they wanted more of that than just like having a sandwich as a choice because the sandwich was a different they had turkey sandwich and they have BLT. So I think the guests don't go for that anymore.
I couldn't even, don't anybody ever make fun of me for talking about balloons at weddings after hearing the sandwiches thing. Okay. I'm just gonna say that. I can't imagine having sandwiches, but you know what? Every wedding is different. And now that I think more about it, maybe as an appetizer, gourmet grilled cheese. That might be, I'm just thinking out of my head here. That might be a interesting choice. Let's get into desserts. Everybody loves desserts aside from the wedding cake. What are some of the trends that you see that people are gravitating toward?
Some of dessert like souffle, some of the souffle and some of the cheesecake that has some flavor in them, not too much flavor because the cheesecake is already thick. And some go for the chocolate fountain where they want to have the chocolate fountain and just dip a fruit and enjoy. So
Are they still done, Alice? The chocolate fountains, are people still doing them?
it had stopped for some time because of the COVID,
Of it.
and but it's starting to come back because it's one of everyone's favorite.
Hmm. What are, when we talk about the chocolate fountain, it's kind of a I like call it a novelty, thing to roll out. I remember years ago we had it. This is like 15 years ago, and everybody was talking about how great it was, and um, things like that. What do you see people asking for? Those fun kind of special novelty type food things.
Well, things like the fountain, I would say people will ask for cotton candy.
Hmm.
Yeah, not only for kids event, but people will ask for cotton candy and the sweets.
Like a candy, like a candy table.
Yeah, yeah, like a candy table with a lot of sweets, and it's very impressive how sweets are being designed now because you can display them just like some of the lollipops. You can make them, put them upright, and people are more attractive to the look of it just rather than having the sweet itself.
So you brought back a memory. I went to a wedding, I'd say maybe it was like 5 years ago, and there was a candy table, and it was located sort of in the lobby area. It wasn't in the main catering area of the venue. And it was not far from the photo booth. But the cool part about the candy table was all of the candy was retro. So it was from right around the time where this couple was growing up. And it was stuff that if you were trying to search it out now, you probably wouldn't find it. You had to go deep online to find these different types of candies that most of them are not even available widespread anymore. They had to get them from special companies, but it was kind of cool, and like everybody was like bringing them back to being a kid at that time.
Right.
Yeah, and those are the special memories, that people talk about. I call it the cool factor, like those little things, even like the chocolate fountain. You know, outside of COVID, who doesn't like chocolate? Who doesn't like a chocolate fountain and just the flexibility of just taking you call it a marshmallow, banana, whatever, and putting it in the chocolate and loading up your dish on that. Fantastic.
Right.
We're getting instant feedback, and this is from Amy, who checks in from Chicago, and she says, "What is customary in terms of a deposit for a venue?" So, in other words, what should you be leaving as a deposit?
For a venue,
Yeah, I guess she's
um,
planning ahead and not really sure what they usually ask for.
well, every venues have the different different ways, and it depends. But I know most of them will take 25% to book the venue, and it comes with a contract.
Hmm.
And some of them will make you sign contract for insurance liability, if you can provide that, and that's to protect you and your guest. And so yeah, I think about 25 to 35% is what venue are asking. Now, if you trying to book a venue within 2 months or 3 months, I believe it will be higher. It will probably be 50% because there's not much time to have installments to pay the rest. And I think venue can give about uh, up to four installments. Some will give two. So it really depends.
Hmm. Okay, good information. And you mentioned something about insurance, and I want to make sure I heard you clear about the insurance. Are we talking about the couple providing the insurance before the event, or the venue, and you're paying for the insurance through the venue?
It can be in both ways. If it's through the venue, they will make you sign some paperwork. But always remember that the insurance will protect the venue and its staff and the inventory. So I think some of them will ask if you can maybe buy an insurance, short-term insurance,
Hmm.
just for your event, or if you can probably transit your home insurance to use it for your event. You could also do it that way.
Oh, great idea. So attach for a short period of time, your homeowner's policy to that. And I guess you just have to talk to your insurance agent about it.
Right, because if it's in the case of disaster where someone, a smoker, one of your guests is a smoker and decide to smoke inside, and the fire in the building and your guests are hurt, the venues do not want to be liable for that. So that's where your insurance will take part.
I was unaware that insurance was needed at a wedding. I thought that was just all covered by the venue. You don't have to worry about any of that. But I guess that's maybe that's something new in the last number of years.
Yes, because guests can always go and sue the venue, and the venue does not want to be liable for that. So I think because of the lesson learned and from the incident that had happened in the past in the event industry,
Hmm.
those took place. They took place.
So you've been doing this for quite some time. And by the way, we're talking with Alice Victoria, Mbui, who is with passioneventsdesign.com, all types of events. We're talking about weddings right now, but all types of events. What makes you feel good, Alice, when you're doing an event? It's got to be, in terms of passion, it's got to feel so good doing an event and seeing it come all together. But at what point do you sit back and say, yeah, that's it. We're good. Or is it you wait to the very end to have that thought?
Right. So, to make people happy, that's one of our desires. And just to experience the wedding, to go through the process and see like a beautiful ending. Sometimes it may not be a beautiful ending because there can be unexpectations. Let's say there was a strong wind that overblew something, but I want the bride to still have that memory of going through that process and afterwards. Because when it comes to events, there is something that one of the slogan of the company is we exceed clients' expectation. Sometimes we have a bride that want the same exact decoration that they saw maybe on my website. They want the exact same, but we always design for a unique design for the client. So there will be something extra that I will throw in that the client maybe did not pay for, but I want the client to have a unique experience. So that makes me happy.
Love it. How about the outdoor events? Any suggestions, things to keep in mind? Any tips you might have for anybody? Not maybe not just weddings, any kind of outdoor events.
Okay, for any kind of outdoor events, always be prepared. Always be prepared for something that can go wrong. And always have a plan B. If your plan A is to have the event outdoor, have a plan B because what if it rains? What are you going to do?
Hmm.
If you plan to have it like in a of course outdoor, and the wind is strong, always be prepared for that. And sometimes couples can get married and the wind is very strong, it's blowing out things. So always be prepared for that and know what to expect. And for those who have a beautiful event where nothing has happened, nice weather, beautiful weather, then good for them.
Yeah, but you can't when you can't guarantee that. And you definitely can't guarantee that. It's all about the weather. I would
Right.
imagine if you're going to do an outdoor event, you should just rent a tent. If you're going to do it and you're that's what you're convinced that you want to take place, if the venue allows it, to have in a tent, just you have backup.
Yes, yes, you can rent a tent and that will protect you from the sun. There was a client that still wanted to rent a tent and there was storm that day. I said, well, the tent will probably protect you and your guests from getting wet, but your feet will get wet. So
Mhm.
you
Boy,
have to think about that.
it's funny you say that about feet. I was talking to a wedding officiant the other day, and things to remember, in terms of how long the ceremony should be. And you know what she said? You don't want to keep it too long because you have women standing in shoes and it's going to get very uncomfortable. And I was like, I never thought of that. Those are those little things where you have professionals like you that thinks of those little things. Because yeah, and especially I did an event or as part of an event. It wasn't a wedding, it was a sort of an expo, but it was held at a place that had a long, long walkway made out of cobblestone, and nobody ever thought about it. And weddings are held there too. Well, guess what? When you have high heels and women were, and everybody was coming from work, imagine walking on cobblestone with your heels on. It wasn't easy. Definitely wasn't.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
I
sometimes you got
can
to think of
imagine.
those things. Any other tips that you might have? Just could be random tips if you're planning a wedding, because I think these are great.
Yeah, so what I can say, if you are planning a wedding, the first thing to do is to book a date, to choose a date. And then the second thing you could do is to hire an event planner.
Sure.
Yes. Why to hire an event planner? Because the event planner has already connections with venues. You may call and the venue may not see your call, but when the event planner calls, they pick up the call, and I can say, hey, I'm looking for a space for my client, and also because of that relationship. And it's a headache when clients trying to find a venue. So we know a large addresses and names, companies. Sometimes there's venues next to you, but you don't know it. So give us this task and let us help you. So once we find a venue, then you have a date that is set, and then you can start booking everyone else, whether it's photographer or catering. You can start booking them, and keep saving money, because there will be installments to pay. So it will be stress free, because installments will allow you to just plan your event peacefully.
I can't imagine doing a wedding without an event planner. There's so many different pieces of the puzzle that have to all come together, and at the same time you want to enjoy your time. So how can you even do that when you're focusing on everything else? You want to be in the moment, you want to be present. And I'm not just talking about the day of the wedding, even leading up to it. You want to take the time to maybe shop for something, or just enjoy your time together. And that's why somebody like you, Alice, is so valuable. And I have to believe that you take care of pretty much everything. When it comes to the venue, you'll make the suggestions. When it comes to the catering and the food, you make the suggestions. Even the limousines. Why don't we talk about limousines for a moment? Anything that stands out in your mind in terms of tips when somebody's booking limousines for a wedding?
Well, for the limousine, always call ahead of time to reserve, because limousine companies are not only available for weddings, they're available to even people that wish to just spend a nice day out
Hmm.
and just rent a limousine. So always book ahead, and pick the one that you like. Don't pick the one that will just be under budget. Pick one that will reflect also in your photos, one that you will be comfortable inside. So for the bride, limousine, sometime if you have a smaller bridal party, you can probably book 10 to 20 seats, and make sure you have two seats for yourself because of your dress,
Ah,
and your future spouse want to be comfortable. So don't pick exact number, but pick like maybe an extra seat so that you can be comfortable.
that's great advice. I would have never thought of that. You might try to get members of the wedding party in your limousine, whatever it might be. Um, Real quick, we have a second here, and I want to talk about your venue or your upcoming venue in just a moment. Um, Photography, so important. Suggestions there in terms of hiring a photography or a videographer for your wedding. Anything that pops in your mind?
Well, hire a good photographer, because photography will bring memories. You will look at the pictures back and say, yes, I am happy. It will bring that. So some brides want to go without photography, and I don't advise them to do that, because what will you be looking at when you think about your spouse? You think about you look at the beautiful pictures. It brings back some great memories. So do not skip out when it comes to photography. Do not skip out. If you don't want to do video, that is fine, but photography is a must. And pick the right one. There's many that are available, but I encourage you to pick to the middle or almost a little high end, because of the quality of the pictures. And some brides make a poor choice, and when they spend tons of money in their wedding, and they look at the photos, they want to cry. It's like this memory has been erased almost.
Yeah, yeah. And I had gotten married about 15, 16 years ago. Destination wedding. Didn't shop out the photographer. This is all to your point. And even though digital was huge back then, he was using film in his camera. Nothing wrong with that. You know, some high-end professional photographers still use film to the day because it has a certain look to it and a certain richness to it. Unfortunately, when the pictures came back, there were scratches on the negatives, and there was also dust on it as well. So there was little pieces of things here and there. And who would have known? Should have done the research. Should have made sure. Yeah, you have to, and that's why you need a wedding planner, somebody that's going to do that for you and make sure. And you have, I'm sure, in your area, if somebody's doing their wedding by you, you know, you vetted out all of these people in advance. Let's talk about the venue. You mentioned a venue that's upcoming. Last time we talked.
Yes, yes. So having a venue was always my desire, and as an event planner, because my company is a one-stop shop. I love to say that to my clients because we do the planning and we do the design. We have party rentals where we have like bar chairs and linens, everything that you can think of. You can see that on our website. But the only thing that was missing, it was a venue. In the town where I live, there's not much venue, and some of the ones that are available are more like social hall or the fire rescue social hall.
Sure.
And the today's brides, they don't want to be married there. They want to be married in a nicer venue and place. We have a mansion in the town, but it's not enough, and a lot of times they are booked, of course, because they cannot cater to everybody. So that is something that I'm working on, and
Fantastic.
I'll be happy when it completes.
What's and we just have a sec left. What's a target date for your venue? What are you looking at?
I don't know yet, but it will happen in the spring. Yes, it will happen in this spring.
And
So
and what part of Maryland is your venue going to be?
it's going to be in Frederick, Maryland.
Got it. Alice Victoria Mbui, great talking to you again. PassionEventsDesign.com is the website. You can do your thing there in the Maryland area or anywhere, I'm sure. But if anybody's got questions and wants to learn more, just go to the website. And what's your slogan? You had said it before. Exceeding.
We exceed clients' expectations.
And I can feel that with your passion and just the information and the tips that you gave us today. Alice, great talking to you. And we look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
Thank you, Steve. Talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon. All right.
And we will be right back. Hang on.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.